It is time for you to stop blaming others for your positive herpes status. How would you feel if I told you that your herpes was your fault? Herpes could never. Herpes could never break me, could never again make me feel less of. Herpes can't take my sexy away from me. Herpes does not take my worth away. Herpes does not devalue me. Herpes can never. Welcome to my channel. My name is Shayna Singleton, aka the Herpes Goddess. I am the founder of the Herpes Can Never movement, growing the largest herpes community of over 230K because I inspire people to love themselves more. The mission is to make everyone uncomfortable until the herpes community feels comfortable being open about their status and proud of their sexuality. Welcome to my channel. So today we're talking about herpes and why you shouldn't blame anyone for your herpes. I always tell the people within the Herpes Can Never movement that if you have not accepted your herpes status, that you are not ready to disclose. Here's why. When you haven't accepted your herpes status, you bring to the table, to the disclosure table, sad energy, lack of self-love, you just trying to find somebody to accept you, and that energy will attract narcissists and manipulators. Only narcissists, manipulators, and scum are attracted to people who don't love themselves enough, attracted to people who haven't accepted themselves. Why? Because they can get a one-up on you. They can benefit off of the fact that you haven't showed up for yourself. They can benefit off of the fact that you don't love yourself enough to accept your herpes status. I always advise my clients that before herpes disclosure, they must go through the process of accepting their status, learning about their herpes virus, and going on a journey with self before they're even ready for a relationship. Narcissists and manipulators are not attracted to strength. Narcissists and manipulators are not attracted to someone who shows up for themselves, accepts themselves, and loves themselves. So yes, you can disclose, but if you disclose without accepting your status, it might lead you into a toxic relationship, and you might experience rejection from people who are really good for you. If you go into a disclosure status, accepting yourself, strong, confident, not caring about a rejection, and secure with self, you will attract other people who feel the same way about themselves, and you will repulse narcissists and manipulators. Either way, your odds of being rejected or accepted are the same, whether you accept your herpes status or not. So we must create an energy or revamp our own energy to attract people that are good for us. And it starts with self. It starts with self-love in your journey and your self-acceptance. Know your worth, kings and queens. Now, if you haven't seen my disclosure video yet, go ahead and look for it. I've created a disclosure method called the Put Your Pussy on the Table disclosing method. Pussy is an acronym. P stands for positivity. U stands for understanding. S stands for set the tone. The second S stands for the sex talk. And the Y stands for your story. Now let's dissect the Y of the pussy acronym, okay? Y stands for your story. That means it's time to tell your story. Now I started off the video saying, forget about the person who gave you herpes. Stop blaming somebody else for your herpes. Hear me out. When it comes time in your disclosure to tell your story, if you go into the disclosure saying, so-and-so gave it to me and he intentionally or she intentionally gave it to me, and if it wasn't for this person, I wouldn't have it, and they ruined my life. Do you hear what I sound like? You're giving another individual so much power over your life situation. In that blame, you make yourself a victim. And I always question my clients, do you want to be a victim or do you want to be a survivor? When you are going into a disclosure with that victim mentality, right? Your narcissists and manipulators are going to pick up on that. Oh, she's a victim. He's a victim. They can be my next victim. And then all the people good for you, the people who love themselves, the people who protect their energy, the people who are constantly evolving and don't want to take advantage of others because they're so focused on themselves, you will repulse those type of people. People who love themselves are not attracted to the victim mindset. They are attracted to the survivor mindset. So say if you're going into this disclosure with somebody that you really like, and then you get to the your story part of your disclosure and you're like, he gave it to me, she gave it to me, they ruined my life, they intentionally gave it to me. You sound sad, you sound bitter, you sound hurt, and it's not attractive. But it will attract the narcissist or manipulator. Now, how do we let go of this blame? Well, herpes isn't usually included in your average STI panel. That's one. Two, did you require to see anyone's STI results? Have you physically seen someone's STI results? Have you physically seen your own STI results? Can you read an STI panel? And do you know what to look for on your results to see whether or not a person has herpes or not? I was the person they used to blame. I was a victim. The day I decided to take my power back, I said everything that's happened to me up until this day is my responsibility because I lack self-love. Hear me out now. I've never required to see anybody's STI results. It was easy for the person that I love, the person that I trust, to tell me that they've been tested, and that would have been fine for me, enough for me to have sex with them. That trust. They said they were tested. We can go ahead and have sex, without a condom. Wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, before you have sex, you should be requiring to see somebody's STI results. If you don't require to see somebody's STI results, you cannot say somebody gave you an STD. You cannot say that somebody intentionally gave you an STD or an STI. You don't know what they know. You don't know if they knew. You don't know if they got tested and they were doing the same thing you were doing. Not seeing their test results, not asking for an explanation from their doctor, not asking their doctor exactly what they were testing for. A full STI panel is what? Chlamydia and gonorrhea. They're not testing for HPV, they're not testing for HIV, they're not testing for HSV, they're not testing for trick, they're not testing for syphilis. They're not testing for all the STDs that you think that they are testing for. So instead of placing blame on the person that you are with at that moment, just put it on you. I didn't know herpes wasn't included in the STI panel. 1. 2, I've never required to see somebody's STI results, so I'm not even sure. 3, the herpes virus can lay dormant in your body for years and you can test a false negative and then be in a marriage or a relationship, and that's when your herpes virus decides not to be dormant anymore. No, you haven't cheated. No, you haven't stepped out of the relationship. This is when your herpes outbreak decided to pop up. Who's to say that the person that I'm with at that time gave it to me? Or I haven't had it for years. Let go. Stop placing blame. We are not victims. We are survivors. Take your power back. step into your power so that when you do go into a disclosing situation and it's time to tell your story, you can lead with, I was young. Again, list all the things that you didn't know. And that's it. Now you're not bringing up that ex. Now you don't even have to talk about that ex that you think gave you herpes. That ex is a non-mother factor now that you have taken your power back. And now that you go, and when you go into disclosure with this power, it shows. The person sees that you're not blaming anyone but yourself. They see that you can hold yourself accountable. They see that you are self-aware. They see that you are knowledgeable about your virus. And they see your confidence. And confidence is sexy. So, I hope this video makes you reevaluate how you got herpes, how you show up with herpes, and how you share your herpes story. It's important. I can't stress this enough. If you haven't accepted your herpes status, you are not yet ready to disclose. Protect yourself. Protect your energy. Think about the person you want to marry, right? Create that perfect person in your mindset, in your head right now. Do you have it? Are you that person? If you are not that person yet, you cannot attract that type of person. So take a break from relationships. Take a break from finding the one, right? And get to learn you. Get to learn who you are. Get to learn you're good, you're bad, you're pretty, and you're ugly. Acceptance, forgiveness, awareness of self. Okay? Become the person you want to marry so that you can attract that person. But if you show up not loving yourself 100%, if you show up not accepting yourself 100%, herpes included, you're going to attract someone who's going to love you the same way that you love you. And you'll find yourself in a toxic relationship wanting more. Don't seek for company. Don't seek for love. Don't seek for happiness in a relationship. Secure that for yourself. Make your happiness enough, your passions enough, your love enough for a lifetime before you decide to look for somebody else. Okay? You looking for love in somebody else, it's time to ask yourself why your love isn't enough. Thank you all for sitting here, listening, watching, listening to what I have to say. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'm trying to monetize this YouTube. I give a lot of content out for free, and it's the only way I can get paid. So please, I would love your support.